Aren't you glad that you're from Ireland and not from Britain?
Are you talking about weather? Are you talking about the politics? Are you talking about all of it?
I'm talking about the insanity
of Brexit. I can tell you as an Irishman that it's basically like watching your neighbour shoot their foot off. And we're kind of watching it thinking, Christ, are they really going to go through with it?
If it were only the foot.
Yeah.
You could say, well, fine, it's a foot.
Yeah.
They seem to be shooting themselves in the head.
Yeah, but then there's the other part of it as well, is that that's all well and good if they want to do that, but we're standing right next to them, so the bullet could come out one side and then hit us.
Yeah, that's an old tradition, isn't it?
Yeah. How does any of that relate to Alita? It doesn't. Can I ask, with a film like this where there's a lot of CGI, I know a lot of actors kind of think of it as experimental theatre. Is that your perception of it?
No. No, because in the so-called experimental theatre, the experiment lies in, let's say, the theatrical.
Yeah.
Not so. That's an interesting thought. Not so much in the theatre machinery.
Yeah.
And really, if the experimental theatre exhausts itself in the experiment,
sure,
it's more about the actors on stage experimenting and the audience sitting down there and going, can you please get on with it?
Yeah.
So what I'm actually pointing at is, in order to engage the audience, it needs to be recognizable for them, meaning human behavior should be as the audience, human behavior on a stage and on a screen, especially if we're talking about this more conventional realm, should be recognizable as the world that we live in.
Yeah.
That's why science fiction, I think, is a great genre to talk about our world.
Very true.
Because it is a setting that can experiment and envision a world as we fear it could turn into, yet told via the behavior of something, via behavior that we recognize.
Yeah, that is
meaning
relatable.
Humans.
Yeah.
And of course you could do it with Lego figures, but somehow you have to make them humanly relatable. Otherwise, it's like in the experimental theater where you say, oh, very interesting. It's all Lego figures kind of hitting each other. Beautiful, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I know, just because some actors, I know Willem Dafoe when he was in the Wooster Group, and they did all that kind of stuff where it was they would in their mind would imagine these fantastical worlds, but would have to make it convincing for themselves.
But in a way, you have to do that anyway.
Yeah, true.
Because if you go to Hampton Court Palace to play Henry VIII.
You're still imagining.
Yeah, you still have to imagine something,
true.
Because even if you wear the costume, and then you say, well, "How is that costume with like a ruff around your neck and all and wig?" And you say that's less effort acting wise than acting with someone in a motion capture set. No, it's the same thing.
For you, for understanding the character, where does it start? Does it start when you read the text? Does it start when you get the costume? Does it start when you meet the other actors?
No, of course it's when I read the script.
Yeah, it's that straightforward,
yeah. Well, it should be. Sometimes after reading the script, it's not straightforward anymore, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
Sure, because this is what the agreement would be. Yes, sometimes, you say, well, you have an idea. But when you have to start a negotiation to change the deal, you catch my comparison, then the author of the script says, go get another job.
Yeah, or just kind of like, there's the deal and you take it or you leave it.
Fair enough,
A deal that you agreed to. Yeah. We could do you want to go back and talk about Brexit a little bit? I'm just
Go ahead.
You as a German, as a European.
I'm not a German. I'm an Austrian.
Austrian, apologies. As an Austrian, What do you make of it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it makes it at this point in time that is a precarious situation in itself, Austria. But
yeah, with the whole Orban, yeah.
Well, not yet, not quite, but soon enough.
You think it'll come?
Orban?
Yeah.
You mean the Urbanization? I hope not. If I can hopefully contribute one way or another that we can steer away from it, I'm available.
It's funny though, like, I mean, just looking at this as a dystopian film, like, I mean, and there's that kind of drift towards the far right. I mean, do you everywhere? I mean, not just in Europe, but in America. I mean, do you foresee an apocalypse?
I don't foresee an apocalypse. It would be a nice literary endeavor, but what it actually means is that our vigilance and active participation is required. We cannot keep our butts on our comfortable cushions and say, why, what's wrong? We're all living very well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, is it all about living well? Or is there something that goes beyond it? Second, is it all about us? Or do we think this civilization should possibly continue? Does that, in a way, burden us with a responsibility?
Of maintaining?
Maintaining, or, maybe there are a few generations afterwards who still want a world that's worth living in.